It's almost impossible to watch Wild Strawberries without immediately thinking of Scrooge from A Christmas Carol. Both stories follow an old man whose heart has grown cold, whose life has calcified into bitterness, and whose soul has slowly died long before his body will. Just like Scrooge is visited by ghosts, Professor Isak Borg is visited by something even more terrifying, his own conscience. His dreams function like moral apparitions, confronting him with the parts of himself he refused to see. He is inevitably haunted by ghosts because he believes the world became cruel, but the film shows something much more uncomfortable. Every day, he chose to be cold, and has to face now a lifetime of small refusals, refusing to love, forgive, and to be vulnerable to others around him. Instead, he tried to control everything, which explains why he fell in love for a lonely work in his office, with only what man can see and control in science. These choices poisoned everything around him. His marriage withered, his son became even more bitter than he is, and his household, full of resentment and emotional sterility, a family unable to generate life, hope, or warmth of any kind. But perhaps the saddest part is that his wife once tried to love him. When a nightmare finally cracked the shell around his heart, dream and memory blend into one another, funeral imagery in the confrontation of his early death, the loss of his wife, the humiliation of watching her betray him, and the youthful summers he once wasted by choosing safety instead of love. The Wild Strawberries aren't just a location. They're a reminder of a time when life still tasted sweet, when he still believed joy was possible, when he was young enough to choose differently. Conscience always returns. Even after decades. Even after a heart has frozen over. From the moment he leaves home, every encounter functions like a moral signpost on his road to redemption. The three hitchhiking students, full of life, music, hope, and arguments about the meaning of the world, remind him of who he once was, and who he could have been. The bickering married couple he meets later represents the future he is heading toward if he refuses to change, a vision of what lovelessness becomes when it calcifies, two people trapped together, choosing bitterness and mutual aggression as a daily habit. Through all this, the road trip becomes a quiet pilgrimage, a slow thawing of the heart. Bergman builds the narrative as a spiritual journey, a gentle, painful invitation for Borg to finally let go of his pride, to reconcile with his son, to accept forgiveness, and to rediscover the tenderness he abandoned long ago. His son, cold, distant, cynical, unwilling to bring a child into the world because he sees life only as suffering, and is, in every sense, a younger version of the man Borg has been for decades. Borg looks at his son and witnesses the future he has created, a man shaped by absence, not presence, by calculation, not tenderness. The film subtly suggests that to refuse love is to teach others to refuse real life. And when Borg realizes this, the journey stops being about nostalgia and becomes a confrontation with responsibility, with the family he neglected, with the love he withheld, and the life he never truly lived. This mirror is brutal, but necessary. Redemption begins the moment a man can finally see himself with clarity. The final movement of the film is not loud, not triumphant, but tender. A softening of the face. A quiet apology. A willingness to say I was wrong. These small gestures, insignificant to the world, becomes perhaps the first moral victory of Borg's life. He cannot undo the past. He cannot relive the summers he wasted or restore the marriage he destroyed. But he can do what Scrooge ultimately does, choose to love now, even late, even imperfectly. Redemption arrives like morning light through a window. It comes when a hardened heart finally allows itself to rest. Because in the end, the greatest miracle is not changing the past, but allowing the present to be a new moment to decide to love again, even after many years. It's never too late to soften a hardened heart, and this redemption often arrives in the quietest of moments. Scrooge learned it, Isak Borg learned it, and maybe we need to learn it too. The sweetness of life returns the moment we freely choose to love again.